Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast, My Hero Academia edition. Today we are talking about My Hero Academia Vigilantes season 2. Last time we were here was almost 2 months ago at the end of January, as we're recording at the end of February. March is in a couple days. And we are talking about episodes 1 through 3. A lot has happened since then. So we're going to do things a little bit differently and focus on the main crux of these past couple episodes. With us, we have the My Hero enthusiast, Miss Andrea Alanis. How are you doing today?
Doing well, Martin. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you. Always great to talk My Hero Academia with you. So, for this one, because typically the goal is to do every 3 episodes, things of that, because
hmm
it's only a 13 episode thing. Since our last one, there's been 5 episodes, and the next one that's coming is literally this Monday, March 2nd. So there's not that many episodes left of Vigilantes, which is crazy from our last podcast. And now it's like the next
Right.
podcast is probably the last
Vigilantes
one,
podcast. Yeah.
which is crazy. But I do want to talk about the most overarching thing of these past
hmm
episodes, and we'll focus more heavily on him. I didn't think that basically the second part of season 2 was going to be Eraserhead's backstory.
Oh, I definitely didn't see that coming either. I mean, it kind of makes sense because we were seeing more of him in season two than we saw in season one. And I already knew from somebody that read the manga that it does get into Aizawa's backstory. So I knew it was coming, but I guess I didn't quite see it happening now. But part of me is wondering, like, I know we mentioned, I'm sorry, my cat's got the zoomies. Um, that I don't know, part of me wonders with where the story is at. I feel like there might have to be a season three. But hey, I don't know. The writers always surprise me in how quickly they tie things up. So maybe it is completely done after season two. I don't know, but I don't know. I get the sinking feeling we are going to have a season three. It was great seeing Eraserhead's backstory. Of course, that does mean, well, once we saw what age we were having the flashbacks at, we knew we were in for some stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot of crazy. Just talked about how during recording your cats have the zoomies, and his backstory literally started with the cat.
Right.
And I know you are a cat person, so I'm pretty sure you kind of loved that, seeing how Mr. Eraserhead's one of his biggest weaknesses is cats.
Oh yeah.
Um, I enjoyed it a lot, like these episodes, because it put a lot, since we've already seen the main story and now going back seeing that, just a lot of things in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Like just a simple thing that Midnight's a year older than them and she's their
Yeah.
senior. Like I
Yeah.
never
Me either.
ever knew that. And she's the one who got them the work study because she was
Mm-hmm.
their basically she was their Mirio, she was their Togata. So
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really cool. And seeing what she would have looked like if there weren't laws on restriction on
You're
clothes. And
right.
but then the
That
thing
was
is
a
too,
fun cat
she
tidbit.
she got me too, because like with and like I think it was President Mike who was it President Mike who noticed it was the bodysuit what she was wearing, because they're like, oh, you're naked. She's like, no, this is actually like
Mm-hmm.
a bodysuit. I was like, dang, she got me. She
Yeah.
Because I was just like, ain't no way she's walking around with that at school. No way. But
Right.
cool things like that, and then seeing those three. Oh boy's quirk was completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Come, that was jarring to me because I was like, oh, he's about to just do
You know,
portals, and then I was
yes.
like, oh my god, he is
That's not his
modeled
quirk.
after Goku
Yeah.
with the flying Nimbus and the power. Like,
Yes. Oh
I
my
was like,
gosh.
wow.
All of the references in this were just top tier. I I I will admit I'm typically a little slow to pick up on stuff like that. Like
Hmm.
the whole Naruto's get up is also modeled after Goku. That I kind of put together because orange and blue is not the most common combo, but like I feel like I missed some blatant callbacks to other series and things of that nature. But that one, I was like, no way, no, no, no. I see that. That is this, even though the cloud's not like a yellowish orange color.
Hmm.
also the way his hero uniform was set up, it's not
Hmm.
the same colors, but it like the whole thing, it was just so, oh my god. Part of me wants to believe the whole goggles thing is also like a slight tie-in to early Naruto because he had the goggles, but maybe not. I might be reaching on that one, but yes, that seeing that made me relive my childhood a little bit since Dragon Ball is one of the first anime that I watched.
Just crazy because again, completely different quirks, and even with the gog, and like even if you're looking at his getup, you're like, oh, he's the
Mm-hmm.
boots and the G and the gi and the
Mm-hmm.
belt tied. You're like, he's exactly dressed like OG, like Dragon Ball Goku. And the goggles can go to many of different things. Obviously, you said Naruto. I think the more anime thing that goggles are associated with is Digimon, because
That
usually
too.
the
Yep.
leader of the Digidestin, that was their calling thing. The leader of the Digidestin always had goggles
Mm-hmm.
for most of the all of the series. So, and you could say he was Quaz, and he was the happy-go-lucky-ish one of
Yeah.
the group. So you can see that, like just seeing them interact and seeing how back then, and because it was their second year, how Aizawa was like he was getting good grades, but back then he didn't know what he wanted to do. His other friends were the ones giving the ideas, at midnight giving ideas. He was just like, it's funny how we've talked about his quirk for years, but like hearing him back then, he's like, my quirk sucks. Like what am I
Oh,
really
oh my
doing?
God. Oh my God, the slander and that fucking, class B classmate being all like talking shit about his peers. Like, no, fuck you. Like, you just don't like the fact that it makes you actually have to fight. Fuck off. Like, come on. Like, I was not sitting there for that slander. I was just like, I get it sometimes. You can have certain feelings about yourself, not fully aware of certain things, whatever, but like, sir, come on. Like how are people framing this as a bad thing that he can level the playing field? That is so, and we've seen obviously how crucial it is in the main story. So it's just like this man really like went back and forth and was like, "Man, my quirk sucks. Maybe I shouldn't be a hero, or I don't know what
Yep.
type of hero I'm going to be." And it's like
Hmm.
we were that close. The teenage angst was that close to winning that Shigaraki and All for One would have won. Like, seriously?
Yeah,
It's
it's
wild.
crazy seeing how like, and it was his friends telling him, like, well, if you stop quirks, does it makes it harder for the villains too, right? So you got to
Mm-hmm.
force it into hand to hand combat. So
Yeah.
that was really cool too. And then his I guess you could say his being stern with his students came from someone who we never thought we would see in My Hero Academia. Basically, we got Prince in
We
My
got fucking
Hero.
Prince. When that dropped the last, oh my God, I screamed. I was like, there is no way we have Prince in My Hero, His Purple Highness. Like,
Who is Midnight's
ah,
sensei pretty much.
yes.
That was a drop too, and he was talking about the stuff too, telling me he needs to smile and be
Mm-hmm.
reassuring and
Mm-hmm. That also
stuff
gave me
like that.
flashbacks of Best Genius talking to Bakugo.
Yep, yep.
Yep.
So that was really cool seeing those four because we all know those four's path. Now it does beg the question now for me is was All Might and Endeavor and those people, were they that much younger or older than those three? Because if
Right.
Midnight is older than them, which was crazy. So like who was after them? Like who were the next age range? Like I would have loved to if Midnight was the third year, they were
Right.
second. Who were the
Mm-hmm.
first years coming in? Or who was the
Right.
graduating class after
Right.
Midnight?
Yeah. Because I mean, I don't know about Endeavor because Endeavor's timeline for me is hard. Where I feel like All Might definitely is way ahead of them. Like he would have already graduated, maybe not even been at school at the same time as Midnight, like senior freshman type deal. Like I think he's significantly older than them. Well, I guess significant is 4 years is not necessarily a significant amount, but I would like to know where they fall in the age categories because we know, yeah, Endeavor went to UA.
All Might
Was he
went to
closer to All
UA.
Might's age? Was he, younger than them? I don't think so. Like he has to be older than them, but how
Yeah,
much? And you're
What?
right. Who are the heroes after them? My gut instinct is to say 13 because 13 looks really young.
Mhm.
Um, we know Hawks is young, but again, he didn't go to UA.
Yeah, he was in the little script project. But Endeavors
Mm-hmm.
would be interesting because I do remember the fact that he said, I don't know if it was during All Might's Last Stand or him fighting that Hayanomu, that he was the number two hero when he was 21.
Right.
And then he had to hold that for 20 plus years. So I would
Mm-hmm.
assume those two would have to be older, unless like he was just, I mean, again, I could see it with the family and Shoto. He being a prodigy right out of UA, while that blah, 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 then 21. So he could be a little bit older than them. And then he holds that for
I
20 years.
I mean, I could have sworn. So I remember reading something somewhere saying that in the My Hero universe, Aizawa is like 35 years old.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Endeavor is in his 40s. That feels right to me. I don't know, so I'm going to look it up.
So that would only be five. If he's 35, let's just say if he was just 35 and he's 40, that's a 5 year difference. So it's like you miss him by school. Like, so he graduated when you're coming in. I'm doing it based
Mm-hmm.
off of the education system here in America. So,
Right. So let me see. Let me see. First appearance, he's 45. So there's a 10-year difference.
okay. A little bit. Well, then I don't want to say plot point thing, but then that makes no sense why he didn't show up because he would be in his young youth stuff. Why didn't he show up in that final thing
Right,
of,
with the toad. And I
hmm
mean, to be fair, it's kind of good he didn't show up with the toad because then they would have, yeah, I think ugh, that would have been extra bad. It was already bad enough. We had, I mean, sure, Shirakumo unfortunately died.
which
So,
is another plot point there too, because we never knew how he like
right.
got going all for one and all of that stuff. I honestly just thought he was like kidnapped, manipulated,
Hmm.
things of that end. But now, after seeing this last episode that happened, I think Prince died too. I'm pretty sure he died. I don't because
That was my next question is like technically it's not clear
mhm,
that he did, but we also have never heard or seen him in the main series. So,
yeah, I think he passed and
right,
that doing his duty. But seeing Shirikimo die, now it all connects. I mean, because he dies, he gets carted off. Probably went to Eggman instead of the other doctors.
right,
And then that's how he got turned into what he became because those quirks are too, you would not know they're the same people.
right.
So now seeing him get carted off the hospital,
And we
especially
knew what
that,
was about to happen to him. Yeah.
mm-hmm, that was like so jarring for me because we've seen the series and we know we're like, wow, so this is how no one checked his like where the body was going. They didn't ask to bury him when he got declared dead. Like,
Right.
or another thing. So Buddy died and he didn't have any parents. They didn't want to see
Right.
their kid. They didn't want to bury their kid. Like,
Right. And I don't know if viewing is really much of a thing in Japanese culture. To my understanding, a lot of times with family grave sites and such, it's more of an ashes thing that people don't necessarily, get put in a box and in the ground.
they viewed Night
Um,
Eye. He was in a box because All Might went to. I'm pretty sure they had a funeral for him. Yeah, when he
did we see a
died,
funeral for him? Hold on.
I'm pretty
Uh,
sure they had a funeral.
but having funeral services is not necessarily the same as the body being in a casket.
Pretty. I swore it was All Might was talking to his picture when I was in a casket. Which is so crazy that he died. Like, still
It
thinking
is.
about that. But while we're looking at, it's just I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of different things, and like seeing all the things that pushed Aizawa to be what he is now. Like when you saw how that death truly, that's where he basically got the loner. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're like, yeah, his grades are good, but now he's changed ever since that last year event. Like his year of graduation, he already knew, which a lot of people do that. When you know you're going to graduate, you start slacking off. You already have the grades, but
Yeah.
he was
I
like,
was thinking that I was like, isn't I mean technically that is kind of normal.
So then he focused all on, which is weird because like never in my life would I thought I would see a Eraserhead training montage.
I know, right?
Like
It
that
was
was so
great.
weird. And I'm just like, is this real? Like he's over there climbing the thing, like lifting weights,
Hmm.
doing one-handed push-ups. I was like, a
Doing
racer?
three finger and then two
Three
finger
feet?
push-ups.
Yeah, a racer is doing
Right.
this? This is bonkers. And because that stuff affected him because he knows like he was taking like, hey, if I'm turning off people's quirks, I got to be able to
Throw
do
some
physical
hands.
comp. But
Yep.
now I got mad because I'm like, I'm seeing you back then. The first time I saw you fight in series, you got your ass whooped.
Right.
Like, I'm just sitting here. I saw you take on that big thing when you were a teenager, and now I think so much more. I was like, so we couldn't survive a little bit better against that regular Nomu. Now I'm
Right.
just thinking of that now. It's like, what are we doing here? Did you Did you slack became when you became a teacher, or
Did you slack?
I'm just saying,
Probably.
like,
I mean, I do wonder if it's kind of like a I feel like My Hero doesn't really do continuity issues. However, I I question it because there was like a point in Naruto and Naruto Shippuden where, the first time we see Kakashi kind of like interact with Orochimaru, it's like, oh shit, like I wouldn't be able to take him.
hmm
And then later on in Shippuden, we get flashbacks of Kakashi as a kid. And yes, as a kid, he was afraid of Orochimaru, but by the time he was like a teenager, it's kind of implied that maybe he could have taken Orochimaru as an adult, but the
uh-huh,
first time we see it, he's like petrified and feels like he's gonna die, just like Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura did. I'm sorry, Sasuke and Sakura. It was just
yeah.
those two. Excuse
I
me.
mean, it's a story mechanism because if you use because at that point you saw Kakashi beat Zabuza, so he was the strongest person we knew at that time, like who we saw
Right.
fight. So if you use that person to then, it's what wrestling does, to use that person to like tell the watcher and reader the story, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this guy's not to be F
Fuck
with
with,
because
yeah.
then you just think about all the people. Like Orochimaru is really nothing when you come to Shippuden with where Kakashi, Sasuke, Naruto, and all
Mm-hmm.
them got, and when you see Madara and the first Hokage, like
Mm-hmm.
it's just like stuff like that. Because we think about that part one, Orochimaru, when we were all little kids, was like, oh, this guy's scary. This is a big bad, and then we
Yeah.
realize he's not even. And then
Anything.
Avi Itachi amplifies that. Then in Shippuden, all the other people amplify that. So I think that's what they did. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird because now I'm just thinking like all the things that Azao did, and also seeing like small things too, like when he graduated. Obviously, like President Mike's like, "Hey, we graduate." He was just gone. He said,
He took off. I could not believe he actually like turned off his quirk and it actually turned off his regular voice. Like that was
"Mm-hmm."
wild. I literally said like, "Oh wow, that was rude." Like that was kind of fucked up.
And then he's at graduation, so well, crying and all that stuff and
Hmm.
smiling, which was so crazy too. And then you see, even though we don't get to hear any words, you see the first you see it's been a long-standing thing, like with their first encounter with Eraser and Miss Joke. Like just that small thing, like, oh, you guys like
Yes.
know each other from like way back. And it's just, and now to go back to points you've made years ago,
Hmm.
if he was really doing all this stuff, like, and it showed like he was doing all the physical training because he was fighting
Yep.
villains every single day,
Yep.
hand to hand combat every single day for X amount of years
Hmm.
to your thing years ago. So why didn't you teach the hand to hand class?
Right. Like why are these students training and not being able, because again, if you have this quirk, like yes, I understand it's extremely rare, but
Hmm
you can't tell me that there's going to be some similar offshoot, or hell, heaven forbid, Monoma copies your quirk.
hmm
Somebody has copy and they can copy. Like, why would you not prepare them for a quirkless battle when
Yep.
that is mostly what you fight?
Yep.
Or just, yeah, just
It's just like you're watching all these people use these quirks, and you're like, oh yeah, if a situation arises, you need to be able to do melee combat. And you're now that we know you're some expert in melee combat, and you didn't teach your general
anything.
class
Like,
that besides Shinsho because you took interest in him. Like
right.
that was crazy for me. I was like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and then him leaving. I don't know. That was kind of wild. Him leaving the graduation and
Yeah.
all
I
over
just
that.
leaving the graduation didn't jar me as much as the fact that, President Mike is trying to talk to him and like just in general talk to him and he literally shuts him the fuck up and turns
Hmm.
off his voice. Like
Yeah,
that's I don't know why that bothers me so much
because
because
incredibly, I mean,
obviously
that's
with the
your best
trauma
friend.
it right like how and it's not there wasn't even necessarily unless I'm misremembering but I don't remember there being a warning shot of like like dude leave me alone.
Nope.
It was just I'm gonna turn your shit off like damn don't talk to me. So I felt so bad for President Mike when that happened.
I mean, just think
And
about from a normal standpoint. I mean, graduation's supposed to be the compliment, like of everything you've
mhm,
done and shoot, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and beyond.
mhm,
Like you graduated, you've been in the trenches with these people all this time. You've built some friendships that you feel like are going to last
right.
longer than that. Obviously, President Mike felt that way. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's his best friend. Their other best friend died a year before them
Yep.
graduating. So you would
Mhm.
think they would have a close bond. And then Racer had basically said, fucking you, and left. Like, if you put yourself in your shoes, like, if your best friend at graduation, like, hey, we did it, we graduated, we're let's make, and he told you to fuck off, and that was your last time you may have talked to him for a minute, you
Right.
would feel, especially that day of graduation, yeah, you would feel
Feel
some
some type
type
of
of
way
way.
for
Oh
sure.
yeah, most people wouldn't even talk to him ever again.
Well, and that's what I was thinking.
Like,
I was like, damn, President Mike really like pushed through some shit. Cause I mean, we again in some of the flashbacks we see or in present time with vigilantes, President Mike is calling him like being like, hey, checking in on you, like, why don't you like give teaching a shot, like throwing it out there. So they're still obviously in communication. So I guess that's probably also why it's like, wait, you guys are still friends. You guys are still talking. You guys are still best buddies. I kind of wonder how that initial interaction after that went.
well,
Because
how much
like
of it was one-sided though? Like,
exactly.
I don't see a racer reaching out to him. It's always
Mm-hmm.
President Mike having to do it, President Mike having to do it. Then a racer just hitting with the anime trope. Oh, you're just so annoying. Fine, whatever. So I
Right.
feel like that's one of the big. And then in real life, like I, it gave me more respect, even though he's it gave me more respect for President Mike because man, I know a lot of people. Even I don't know if you told me "fuck you" on graduation, and then I'm like, you know what? I still want to reach out to that person
Right.
all these years
Years.
and current, and like keep trying to be their friend. He's a better person than most because I don't think most people they would have been like, all right, if that's how you feel, like fine.
Right. I'm done. Like, because Mike's been trying to they're both going through it. Maybe,
Hmm.
for Aizawa, he's internalizing it a little more and he doesn't feel comfortable relying on President Mike or anybody, obviously. He doesn't want to be he's kind of pulling the emo boy. I don't want to be attached to anybody because I don't want to feel pain anymore or
Yep.
have that possibility. I don't want to lose anybody else. But that's not a healthy way to go about it at all. So it's kind of like, especially for President Mike to still be like, hey, buddy, like, let's whatever at graduation.
Yep.
I can only assume like there was some sense of this throughout the entire year since Shirakumo died. And so
Yep.
he's still continuing. And for that to not be like a final straw, again, you can have empathy and sympathy for people's situations, for the grief, obviously, that was affecting him,
Yep.
affecting the both of them. But there's the question of like, respectful boundaries. And again, like you're right, if President Mike is the only one reaching out, I wonder in that situation, if it was me, I would obviously have, I would have grace and hold space for Aizawa to come back to me more so and like broach that apology. I don't know that I'd be, hey, like I couldn't, sweep that under the rug. And I wonder if maybe for, somehow we get a glimpse into how that occurs. But I don't know. From where I'm sitting right now, it seems like yeah, President Mike just kind of let it slide like water off his back, which he is a chill dude. But yikes, that was obviously hard to watch.
I also want to know what I mean. They may have passed of old age or I don't know something, but I don't know what happened to his teachers. Like his guidance
Yeah.
counselor count, like all those people. I wonder who was principal at the time.
I wonder if it
Um,
was still Nezu. I do wonder. Yeah, it's a good question
Stuff
because we
like
didn't see
that.
him. So,
Mm-mm. Um, I think it's also funny too how also we saw that now we know the origin of Aizawa's the goggles.
yep.
I mean, now we know why. I was like, oh, we just thought it was some memento, it was just a goodie for his eyes. It works. It's
Yeah.
practical, but now we know like there's a whole lore and a
hmm
backstory to it. And you brought up obviously Naruto. I mean, it's similar but different. It was
hmm
literally just watching almost the same story of Kakashi and Obito,
Right. Yeah.
almost to the
Oh
almost
my God, that's
different things.
right.
Obviously,
Yeah.
different things. Well, Obito had on goggles because he couldn't see. A kid with the
hmm
Sharingan, Uchiha eyes can't see. So funny, but
hmm
both doing that and how they changed. Obviously, Kakashi changed to be a more carefree person, a more person who's late helping
hmm
others, helping like the old ladies walking down the street like Obito used to do, and
Right.
spending hours on hours at his grave site and things like that. And he had people pulling him through and all that stuff. I think he
hmm
had more because we don't know if that guidance counselor was in Azawa's life post graduation.
hmm
Obviously, we knew Minato was in Kakashi's life before he passed.
Right.
Obviously, Rin was the present Mike of this situation, Fight Guy.
My guy.
Obviously, and we've seen Kakashi acknowledge Guy multitude of times.
Right.
So it's a very similar. They're both the teachers of the verse, and now seeing
hmm
that backstory, I was just like, and him dying, getting crumbled by rocks and rubble, just like
Can we?
Obito.
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
yep.
Yep. Can we also talk about the fact that like as it happened when the gourd again,
Hmm.
cute, you can see the little speaker in it, and I was like, is he like it made me think like is he alive under there for that to come out? Or then
Me
when it
too.
started speaking, I was like, wait, what are the odds that this might just be a pre-recording because he knows that Aizawa just needs like a pep talk or whatever.
I never thought
Um
of that until it
and
was revealed.
and then as they were and then I even said that like to my boyfriend who was watching with me. I was like, oh, he might be imagining this. I think he might. And he looked me dead in the face and he was like, no way. No, like he's definitely like alive under there. Maybe he doesn't make it, but he's alive under there. He's talking to him. And then when it is revealed that like, no,
It was
man, the tears
tough.
were flowing that episode, absolutely flowing that episode.
It
Oh,
was
that was
tough.
hard.
I thought post credit scene we were gonna like we talked about earlier. I thought we were gonna see All for One get his body so we can
Mm-hmm.
see how he changed him, erased his memory, and now it makes you want to watch after you just watch that. Fast forwarding to the
Mm-hmm.
episodes where Aizawa and President Pike are like, "Wait, is
Is
he
he?
really? No way, he's dead." Literally,
Mm-hmm.
like the Obito reveal.
Right.
So
Right.
that is it was crazy. Like I didn't think that Aizawa's story would be that like
And the
fleshed
way
out.
exactly, exactly. I didn't think they would be able to flesh it out that deeply in 3 episodes,
Hmm.
less actually. So it's I can never stop giving praise to the writer and creator of My Hero. Like truly, it's amazing, and the anime adaptation is chef's kiss. I don't know the source material exactly, but I'm not picking up anything, and I'm not hearing anything online. Really, I don't know if you are about complaints on the adaptation.
No. Now my question for you,
Uh huh.
who who would you want to get the Eraserhead treatment? The 3 episode fleshed out about how they became to be who they are in the present time.
Ooh, ooh, that is hard. I'm trying to think of somebody we haven't had a backstory on at all.
If she wasn't heavily involved, I would have said Midnight, but Midnight was basically their little
Right,
senior, so you
right.
saw that.
So, and that's where my brain was going too. But then now I'm kind of stuck on. what about Night Eye? Like how he decided to become a hero, like learning how to use his quirk. Obviously, we know it happens, but just I don't know. I
How
guess
he
I'm a
really
little
got in with
interested.
All Might and
Yeah. Yeah. Is it just like he, used his quirk accidentally on All Might, so he like figured out his secret or something?
mhm.
Yeah, I am curious because that again, he's the only sidekick uh all All Might ever had. So like what how did they meet? Like was this a chance encounter or he was, just super persistent about like I'm gonna be your sidekick, you won't regret it type thing, and then, what happens happens. Um but what about hmm, I feel like there's somebody I'm missing in answering that question. Full backstory. We basically got one for all of the League of Villains except for what was her name with the magnet? Uh,
The one who got killed by Overall.
yes,
Yeah, I
yes,
was thinking about that in the club or bar or wherever, and
yeah. I was gonna say I don't think she ever really got much of a backstory, but like that, not really worried about that. The students, I feel like we have a good grasp of their backstories for the most part. Um,
most of the teachers now, I guess the only one backstory of like a gang orca,
Gang Orca. What's the
the,
guidance counselor? The
who
is
does the
it
mud.
no Hound? Oh, Cementos. Cementos would be interesting too.
Hmm.
But is he just called Hound or
I
something
feel
else?
like he hasn't been seen since like season three.
Yeah. What about is it Sniper? Snipe?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Mm, that we haven't seen any backstory on that. Although we have him in a flashback of Nagant's life, which was cool.
Hmm.
Um, Knuckle Duster, I'm sure we're going to get into it more so here soon, especially that is something we kind of like glossed over is that we did see Knuckle Duster again pop
He's
up
returned. Yep.
in China, if
Hmm.
I'm remembering that correctly. So, fun fact, he speaks Chinese. Nice. And I have this sinking suspicion that he's the what's it called? The speedster hero that Aizawa said, retired and just disappeared because of the scar across his face, because our, speedster person is talking about his master and, how he put the scar across his face to be like his master. I don't know why. I just have that feeling things are lining up to me in that way. So I'm like,
I'll
hmm.
give you one more for that. So I agree.
Mm-hmm,
He was the Flash person. I don't think the scar across his face, I don't like the thing across his face isn't regarding to that master. Maybe I'm going more all for one.
mm-hmm,
Because obviously at this point, all for one's face is completely scarred up because all might beat it
mm-hmm.
to the ground.
Right.
Um, in our in our lore right now, unless we find out something, the only person who could steal quirks and give them to other people is all for one. So more than
True.
likely, Knuckle Duster fought all for one, and it just a random encounter in hell. Like you're minding your own business, and all for one is
Mm-hmm.
there, and
Yep.
he notices your quirk is like
Just
super
chilling.
good, and then takes it. But then what we
Mm-hmm.
talked about last month, we literally said if Shigaraki or All for One had this little speed quirk, it would be over. So why didn't you keep it? Why'd you give it to someone?
Yeah.
Like, so that's why
Right.
I obviously it was stolen by All for. That's the only person who could steal quirks, to our knowledge, and give them to other people. So I
Right.
agree. I agree. With you. It was just funny seeing him like doing his little own thing for a little bit. His stuff with his daughter, like he hasn't reconnected with
Right.
Koichi and like Pop. So that'll be interesting how this like final stretch of episodes you got to have the reconnecting. This last episode is going to be Captain
Right.
Celebrity's last time. He's going back, so he's getting a goodbye party. So I feel like after
Yep.
that's when they're gonna bring little Speedster Demon back, and we go right
Yeah.
back into the end. But you're right, that was like it was like him coming back, but then it was mostly about Eraser, and then we see how he became to be all the stuff, and then him hanging out with the little misfit toys of people. talking about
Uh-huh.
a cat cafe and finally seeing a good, genuine smile from adult Eraser in this
Yep.
series. So I think, again, it's been really, really good. I would think that for me, going back to the question I asked you, I would want either two backstories because I feel like this would have
Okay.
had to have been controversial back then, just the way that because they still had the arranged marriages.
Right.
I want to know who the first top 10 woman hero ever was. And
Okay.
like if that person had to go through like a Mulan situation. Like, hey, you
Yes.
got to get married to so and so, but like, no, I'm actually like good at this hero stuff. And like, they show like the
Hmm.
barriers and like she was the one who broke through the barriers for like women to get ranked. I feel like
Yeah.
there could be a story there because just like, so if Ray didn't want to, that's Shoto's mom's name, right? Ray.
Yeah.
Like, if she
Yes.
wanted to be a hero, would she not have been allowed to because she was in an arranged marriage? Like, and that's the
Right.
other thing too. If I, it's obviously not okay. Cameo Woods and Mount Lady, they're dating. That's
Yeah.
just it's factual. But
Hmm.
besides them, it's not public. It's not known to us. It could be known in their little world. None of those women are married or with children,
Yeah. Not as far as we're aware. No.
and
Only Nana.
even the guy, like none of them. The only person we know who has children for sure, who was at the top, was Endeavor,
True.
which is just after all these years, really just thinking that is like, wow.
Hmm.
I know he's not a top hero, but Rocklock obviously had that was a because he was
Oh,
just trying to
yep.
get back to his
Yep.
baby
Yep.
during the freaking raid of a lifetime. But like
Yep.
just things like that, just think I was like, wow, the one person who most people, well, who at the well now they tell whatever most the person who they don't want to be a dad, it might be the only person who's a damn dad.
Right. Right.
Because I'm really thinking through like yeah, none of them. Obviously, that might change epilogue wise, but to our which is crazy to think that we've never. That's a whole thing. Like, is parenting not conducive of being a top hero? Obviously, Shigaraki and them thought so because Lady and whatchamacallit, All Might's master left and they said, "Hey, you're abandoning your family to be a hero." So it
Right.
was almost like you couldn't do both. Or
Well, and that's how it was portrayed. But for her in particular, it was more so the all for one aspect in that I want
hmm
like I'm pretty sure that's the route. And not everybody is, mortal enemies with him. But yes, it's true. Oh, the other heroes that we've seen that are parents, unfortunately they have passed away, is Koda's parents. They
Yeah.
were a duo, a superhero duo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just a hero duo. Were they called Water Hose or something like that?
Mhm.
I don't remember what, but again, they were killed in action essentially.
Mhm.
So it's kind of to me real world comparisons with law enforcement officers, military. Um, it just carries a lot of risk, and I wonder if that's partly why it might just be kind of on the side, or not very many active heroes have kids because of the risks involved. Because
Could be.
again, like we like to reiterate, Endeavor had a bad guy roll up to his house and wrap up his kid, and that villain was definitely not on All for One's level. So
Yeah. Just weird. We've never actually brought that like together like on the pod ever. Like, oh,
yeah.
none of them have married, no kids, no. The whole we doing the whole superhero bit like, oh, I can't have loved ones because
Mm-hmm.
my enemy's type get
Yeah.
them type thing. So that's just really it's like, but you're in the public eye doing all this public shit. So I don't know. It's been good. It's been good just thinking about those stuff. Andrew, what are some things you wanted to talk about with anything regarding My Hero these past couple episodes?
Um, my hero is best. I'm gonna be extremely disappointed if these next few episodes are, the end of everything, because I really feel like we're leading up to like a pinnacle of season three somehow. And again, it could just be my biases of it not wanting to end, as well as that I can't wrap my brain around how deep and how quickly we can get through certain things. But the author has proven it, time and time and time and time again, uh, that they can. So I don't know. I let myself be along for the ride, honestly, for Aizawa's backstory. The bond being built with, you know, the heteromorphs that he was working with, and the tie back into, you know, he, Midnight, Shirakumo, and all of them talking about opening a cat cafe for Sushi, the kitten, and then we come back to present day and Vigilantes, and the Grasshopper brothers are talking about like, yeah, we've decided to open a cafe in our
Hmm.
old warehouse, and
Hmm.
we have your space because you're always going to be coming in and all the free coffee, and you know
Hmm.
what? Well, we have this kitten here, and so like we can have it in the cat cafe and all the things. Like it just it was it was phenomenal. I loved these episodes for how they were done, how well they were done. Having Prince be real in the My Hero universe. Um, but it was also incredibly sad to watch. Like I said, it was really hard to watch. Is our first like be doubting himself to that level, and then watch him lose his biggest supporter and realize that he hallucinated his support in that last fight, and that, oh, man, that was definitely heavy and hard.
Was. I just thought about someone. I can't believe we didn't say this person's name, who everyone would probably want to know her backstory. Mirko.
Who? Duh. Oh my God. Yes. Hello. I knew there was somebody where it's like, come on, like it's so obvious. Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Knowing Mirko's backstory. Did she go to UA? Did she go to a different hero high school? Did she, strike out on her own immediately? Like, what made her decide to be a hero? Like,
Yeah.
man,
So
yes.
So for people who don't know, obviously since the last time we've been on, the new My Hero Academia game, All Justice, has been out. And if you ever want to see people from the crew playing that, just go to the YouTube. There's videos up of us playing that against each other, against other people online, things of that nature. But the thing I'm bringing up is because video games always add like a tad bit of like lore of their own and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And there was one time where there was just three like NPCs, non-playable characters for people who don't know gaming lingo. They were talking about Mirako, and they said that someone said like back in her past, she used to go undercover into like underground fight arenas and bust them by winning the championship. And I'm just sitting there like, don't know if it's true or not, but
Right.
that's some cool backstory. And then the video game adds like a whole bunch of like different conversational pieces between characters you've
Mm-hmm.
never seen interact one on one and like having like a deep conversation. Like Midoriya and Momo have never spoken just one on one. There's it's
No?
like it was having like these type of things and like they're talking about stuff and you're just like it added a whole bunch of different lore. So for people who don't play video games, just type in All's Justice like cut scenes or whatnot and
Mm-hmm.
or like special interactions between characters and you're seeing them talk and yeah, it's very very, very interesting. So yeah, the game's a lot of fun. They just announced their first DLC character. It came out today, day of recording, and it was Stars and Stripes. So she was the first DLC character with all of her
Heck yeah.
cool stuff, and you see all of her moves, and you're just wondering, like, wow, this girl got to fight two episodes and died.
Yep.
And you're just still sitting there like all these powers, all these orders, and she's about to win, and then the dude. Who would have thought the one time someone wanted to have an identity crisis in their life saved their life?
Right.
So, Andrea, anything else?
I I don't think so, Martin. I think I'm sure we're gonna realize after we get off this recording that we forgot something, left something off. Um, Real quick, I did look it up just to be completely sure. When we first see Aizawa in My Hero, he's actually 30, so not 35. So there's a 15-year age gap between them, if I'm
Damn,
reading the wikis correctly.
that's
Um,
crazy. Okay.
I know, but it at the same time it makes sense because again, he's in his 30s teaching, Endeavor's basically 16-year-old son. So
Yeah.
like 15, 16. So
Yeah.
yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Starts at
Um,
30, and then the gap, and then did we ever find out if he moved up during that time skip, or did he just say being a teacher? I know he's still at UA, like, and Midori is a teacher, but did he become vice principal or
I don't think they ever said, but that is a
no?
good question. I mean, maybe Nezu retired and now he's principal or something. Probably. I mean, maybe. Who knows?
I feel like if Nezu retired, he would have needed. I get Hawks being the head person of that thing, but it should have if Nezu should have been like head of like the world's
Yeah.
whatever council after all the stuff he was dealing with.
Right. Right.
Also
And how
we forgot to say real quickly. Now we know why Azawa holds like when these situations and stuff so seriously because that was the first time we saw a student die.
yep. It's the
Like,
only time we've seen a student
yeah,
die.
first and only time, and Aizawa saw it. So obviously, that's why he's so hard on it. All connected. Why he's so hard on his kids because he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want them to experience what he saw. Like seeing a student die, like that is
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately he couldn't stop them from. But now it gets me more mad that I was like, man, he should have won. I guess maybe he should have. Him and Prez, I know they were busy. Should have wanted more vengeance for Midnight, seeing how much he did for them.
Right. Right. I did just think of another character that I would love to see a backstory on is Principal Nezu. Because I
Ooh.
think there
How
was
do you,
during his initial introduction, I think they mentioned that they're not entirely sure if he's like a human with the quirk that makes him,
yeah.
you know, a heteromorph, or if he's the result of some like Rocket from Avengers, like some
hmm
animal experimentation with intelligence, and he is sentient, so he is his own person. I believe that was brought up in his like when President Mike like introduces people, like I could have sworn I remembered something like that. So he would be an excellent character to get a background on.
You're right, because how do you become the principal of the most prestigious hero school? Who decides that? Do you have a whole board? Does the government decide who's the principal of UA?
Mm-hmm.
That's a very intro. That's a good one.
Also, with his level of skill and knowledge for strategy and preparation for literal doomsday situations,
What
why
were
is
you
he
doing
only the
before?
principal of
hmm
UA
What
instead
were
of
you doing in
someone
the
like up there
past?
in the government? Because like
Yep.
what?
What were you doing in the past? Like, what
Mm,
were you? Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Anything else?
not at the moment, but I wonder if by the time we get on another call, we might actually have more names and think about actually like, you know what? Let's come up with a list. Hey, I'm gonna need case studies when all this is said and done, and hopefully, like I'm saying, it's not said and done in the next couple of weeks with vigilantes. But I mean,
I mean, when that's done, you'll have to.
audience, listeners,
I mean, there's May. I mean, May
um,
we get the episode. The
mhm,
epilogue episode. So we'll see how that goes, but we'll see. Obviously,
that's true
too. I
too.
mean, tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow. Next month is the month of March. I mean,
Hmm.
last year we did with Byron. Last year we did the thing about doing all the new gen, like our favorite new gen seasons, and them going all at it, like having Demon Slayer season 2 versus My Hero season 6, and that was a whole bunch of
Uh-huh.
fun. Maybe there'll
Yeah.
be some tournaments down the road again this March coming up. You just got to be on the lookout for it. So, with for that being said, the next My Hero episode we come back is probably going to be the end finale of that, which is crazy. We'll recap the ending and all of that. And thank y'all for listening and to our content. And yeah, with that being said, the L7C podcast signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.